Welcome back to the friendly town of Bangkinan in Sumatra. I just stopped at this local restaurant. This place seems to be called Ampera Mama Ike. I'll show you the name and the sign over there at the side. There it is, Ampera Mama Ike. I'm still trying to figure out what the word Ampera means. I see it on so many of the restaurants here, but I haven't found a translation. And then they have all the meals there. There's rendang ayam, mie rebus, and I went very simple today. I just ordered soup, chicken soup, soto ayam, and yeah, some of the other dishes. Ooh, I just got some water. It's hot though. And I'm out in the city right now because I just went to an ATM to replenish my dwindling reserves of cash. Went through money faster here than I expected, to be honest, but I think it was a little bit of an illusion because when you change money, you end up with millions of rupiah. You know, you change a relatively small amount of money and you can end up with 3 million or 8 million rupiah, and you think, my gosh, this is going to last me for the rest of my life. And yet you kind of burn through 100,000 rupiah note quite quickly if you're not being careful. You know, it's anyway, I needed to get some money, so I tracked down a bank here with an ATM. I had my usual tension and stress because I have a history of my bank in Canada declining everything. You know, you try to use the ATM in another country, they think it's fraud and they block the transaction, or you try to book a flight or a hotel room and use your credit card, they'll block it. In the past, it happened to me a lot. So now I have this ingrained fear of doing anything like that. I'm just convinced something will go wrong. Though, to be honest, I've got a new bank card within the last year or so, and the number of problems has reduced considerably. So I don't think I have to be as nervous. But anyway, I tracked down this bank, and I entered quite a small amount, actually, like 3 million rupiah. I was going to withdraw, and I think that's like, I don't know, what is it, $200 Canadian or 200, yeah, something like that. And then I got an error message saying, nope, can't do it. I thought, okay, here we go. You know, this is going to turn into a major adventure. But it turned out the bank has a limit of 1,250,000 rupiah as your withdrawal. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Pakai nasi, sir?
Okay, yeah, nasi, this one. And yeah, so for that particular bank and ATM, you can only withdraw 1,250,000 rupiah per transaction. So 3 million was way above the limit. Thank you. Okay. So I did that, and then as I was leaving from the ATM, right next door there were some men sitting outside having coffee. And they called out to me and said, "Oh, come on in. You know, would you like to join us for coffee?" But at the time, I didn't have a camera out, so I didn't get any video of that. And yeah, we had a nice time. The coffee was really good, like local, strong coffee, and it came with a little Ziploc bag with a chunk of like brown sugar in it, like a compressed piece of sugar, and you could just break off chunks and put it in your coffee, you know, with this brown sugar, like a molasses, basically. So that was how I sweetened the coffee, and I was pretty pleased with the coffee because it was super strong and super hot. I mean, you couldn't even touch. It came in a ceramic mug. I mean, local people, they know where to go to get the coffee, right? So yeah, the coffee was really good. I could barely even hold on to the cup. It was so hot. And we had a nice long conversation, normally, like basically using Google Translate to ask questions back and forth. And yeah, so that's what I was doing until I got here. And I thought, since this was turning into a day of small adventures anyway, now I finally broke out the GoPro. So here's my soto ayam. There we are. Yeah, it's really nice soup. Chicken and sliced tomatoes and noodles and, you know, all kinds of things mixed in there. And I got some plain rice to go along with it. So, gonna dive into the soup. Nice broth. I think for a local person right now, as I always talk about, they'd be adding a ton of spicing and sauces. They brought a whole array of like spicy things I could mix in with it. But I'm not going to bother. I'll just eat it as it is. It's a nice lunch. It's really nice. Berapa harganya? 20. That's 20,000. 20. So, 20. Okay.
Terima kasih.
Sama-sama. Okay, thank you. All done lunch. And that lunch was a good example of what I was talking about with the currency, the exchange rate, because my chicken soup, which was a really good chicken soup, I mean, very filling, a lot of chicken, a lot of sliced tomatoes, a lot of noodles, good broth, I mean, really good, plus rice. And when I went to pay, she said, 20,000, which is 20,000 rupiah. So, I mean, your gut instinct is, whoa, 20,000. Like what? Am I a king? Did I eat gold-plated noodles? I mean, 20,000. But of course, you do the translation, do the conversion, and that comes to $1.33 US. So, your first reaction to 20,000, then you calm down. It's like, oh, okay, that's $1, you know, less than $1.50 for my lunch. And it was a really nice lunch. And while I was having lunch, I tried to track down a translation for the word ampera. And I think I found one. It means inexpensive in some cases. So I think related to these restaurants, what they're saying is, you know, this is sort of a basic kind of restaurant, an inexpensive diner, that kind of thing. So ampera would associate, you know, it's not an expensive restaurant, but an inexpensive one. So I'm on the same street as my Mi Ayam Bakso place, but yeah, I just popped into a new restaurant, tried a different place. An interesting thing about eating at those places, I find, you know, just from my point of view, I always go in looking for the meal that they make. So I'm looking at the menu, whether it's on the table or on the wall, and I'm looking for dishes that I can order. And these ampara places are great because they have a series of photographs and then the names underneath, and I can pick what I want, and there's no confusion. So that's how I picked, you know, soto ayam from the menu that was on display. And hello. Just saying hello because I've often had chicken from there. They make really nice fried chicken to go. Yeah, at a really good price. Really nice people there. And this shop behind me is where I've been reloading my phone because I need more and more mobile data for YouTube. And every time I run out of pulsa, I credit on my phone. That's where I go to buy more pulsa. Hello, how are you? No, I was just saying that, as I said, when I go into these restaurants, I look at the menu to see the dishes that are available, and I order from that menu. But when I look at all the tables around me and all the other customers coming in and going out, getting orders to go, getting something sitting down at the table, then the food is brought to their seat, they've never ordered anything from the menu. You know, I'm looking at the dishes going by, and I'm trying to think, oh, okay, what's that? And I look at the menu to see what that dish could be. But it's never anything from the menu. So the local people never order from the menu. almost everybody there got some sort of a plate of, I think, a variety of dishes, rice with a variety of dishes, and a fish. That's what everybody was getting. And yet, when you look up at the menu, there was no such dish, you know, being advertised. And yet that seemed to be their specialty and the main meal that they were serving to all the people. Fish and rice, and then a whole bunch of side dishes. But it's not on the menu. It's also quite amusing to sit in a place like that where surrounded by other shops, and it's very open. So everybody notices you sitting there. You know, being a foreigner, you stand out. And if it happens to be at like lunchtime or something, when there are a lot of students out, you start hearing English phrases just floating on the air coming towards you, because they're trying out all the English that they learned in school. You know, whether it suits the situation or not. So I'm sitting there and I start hearing people shouting out, "Hey, mister, I love you. You know, I love you, mister." I look over and it's a set of three like schoolboys, middle-aged, you know, middle school students. You know, and I guess in English class they learned how to say "I love you," and then they're trying that out on me from a distance, you know, from a safe distance. And it's like, well, hey, I love you guys too, you know. But yeah, you hear all these phrases. It's kind of interesting. Yesterday, I tried to walk to a bridge that I thought was a pedestrian bridge, and when I got there, I couldn't make it to the bridge. There was like a river blocking my path, and unless I wanted to go swimming across the river, I had no way of getting there. And I concluded that it was actually not even a pedestrian bridge, that it was actually like an oil and gas pipeline being, you know, suspended across the river or something. But then later on, I was talking to some local people, and I got the impression from them that, no, it really was a bridge. It's just that nobody uses it. And then I took a closer look at Google Maps, and I did find a set of roads from the other side that seemed to go directly to the bridge. So I never made it to the bridge yesterday walking, but I think what I'm going to do right now is just for fun and just for a sense of completion, I'm going to hop on my bike and ride my bike in that direction, find the road and ride my bike to the bridge and just see if I can get at it from the other direction. And that will be my big small adventure for today after my trip to the ATM and lunch, soto ayam. So I'm gonna go get my bike ready. I'm gonna put the GoPro on the bike and do some filming as I ride. And yeah, so let's go set up the bike. All right, the bike is more or less set up. I have the GoPro mounted ahead of me. And yeah, it's about 3.5 kilometers to get to the turn off to head to the bridge, you know? Let's see. Oh. Got a fair amount of cloud in the sky, so I might get rained on this bridge hunt. But we'll see what happens. I always end up with a funny feeling when I get on the bike to leave from the guest house, because I know that I'm not leaving permanently. I'm just getting on the bike for a little excursion around town. But I can see the people that live and work at the guest house. They see me spending a fair bit of time setting up the bike, and I put a bag on it and I put a camera on it, and to them it looks like I'm leaving, and I can see them all kind of shouting and trying to get people's attention. It's like, oh, the boule is leaving. Has he paid up yet? Is he up to date with his payment? I think he's leaving now. And then I have to reassure them, no, I'm not leaving the hotel. I'm just heading out for a bike ride. And that just happened this time. It's kind of funny. But of course, most of them saw me arrive, so they know that I would have, if I were leaving, I would have a lot more gear than this on the bike. I would have 2 bags, and I would have a trailer, and be a much bigger deal. But not everybody saw me arrive. Anyway, just among the many, many things that amuse me on a day-to-day basis. The other day when I walked to the river and to the bridge, I was rambling a little bit about the different speeds that you can travel at, ranging from, fast-moving motorcycle to scooter to bicycle to walking. And I can really feel the difference now because I walked this same route, I guess yesterday. And it seemed like a very long distance, very hot. And now that I'm on the bike, I'm covering that same distance so much faster, so much more easily. And then the difference is pretty clear too, because when I was walking yesterday, by the time I reached pretty much this point, yeah, exactly right here, I had already had 1, 2, 3 long conversations with people that I met while I was walking, and I'd exchanged greetings with a dozen others, very brief greetings, just because you're moving more slowly and people have the chance to stop and talk to you. And now that I'm on the bike, it's a lot easier. But hello, there's a greeting, but there's no, I've come all this way, and I haven't had a conversation with anyone yet. I'm busy monitoring all these, or trying to monitor all the vehicles coming up behind me. I think about mirrors a lot on the bicycle from a point of view of safety and just keeping track of what's coming up behind me. But I realize that it's not really the mirror that triggers me, because I'm not staring in the mirror all the time, like watching the traffic. So when it comes to trucks and things, I've realized that it's actually my ears that I rely on more. So I'll hear something coming up behind me, and then I will look in the mirror to see what it is. So it's actually the sound that I notice first. You're right there. I heard that scooter engine. It was making an odd noise. And then I glanced in the mirror and I could see that he was right beside me. But of course, there's no way you can just ride a bike and stare at the mirror the entire time. If you look at what's coming up behind you 100% of the time, you're going to run into something coming from the front. So yeah, you have to watch. Most of the time, you have to keep your eyes on the road ahead of you. Yeah, there again, I heard the sound of that truck before I was aware of it visually, and then I could confirm in the mirror. And I never really noticed that before, to be honest. I think of this mirror as being very important, and I find that when I'm walking, I really miss the mirror, because on the bike I'm always looking at the rearview mirror. Here comes a big truck coming behind me. There's the horn. I do appreciate that little honk. In general, I don't like honking. But that's mainly if it goes on too long. There's a real art form, I think, to doing that. Like, what is the appropriate duration of a honk? And if a truck is coming up behind me and gives that little toot, you know, just a little beep, to let me know that it's there, I like that. I appreciate that, because yeah, then it gets my attention. I see the truck. I know that the truck saw me. So I don't mind that little toot. In terms of bike gear, something else I've been thinking about is when I started this ride out of Dumai, I said, to be honest, I may have cut that section out of the video, to be honest, because my video, as always, was extremely long and I started removing sections. But there was one section where I was talking about my cat eye cycle computer, because it's kind of broken. You can't see the screen very well. So when I was in Dumai, I found a bike shop that sold them, and I was considering buying a new one and replacing this one. And I never got around to it because I realized that I don't really need it, because I've got Google Maps now, you know? You know, I've got a smartphone and GPS. So I was thinking that the most important thing about the cat eye cycle computer is to tell me how far it is to the next town. So I've been cycling all day, and I want to know, okay, how much further is it till my destination? And I look at my cycle computer, I do a calculation, it's like, oh, okay, it's still, I have 40 kilometers left to go today. And then I realize that I don't need that anymore. I don't need that information, because I can just check Google Maps. It'll tell me exactly how far it is to where I want to go. So I concluded that I don't need a cat eye cycle computer anymore. And yet I found that in the few days that I've been cycling, I still rely on it all the time. I use it constantly. So it is very, very useful. It hasn't been replaced by Google Maps and GPS. Like today, for example, I used Google Maps to calculate that my turnoff is about 3.5 kilometers from my guest house. So I zeroed my cat eye cycle computer. And when it gets to 3.5 kilometers, then I know it's time to start looking for my intersection. So that's just one example of how I use it all the time. Anyway, I am at 3.5 kilometers. I may have passed my road already. It's time to pull over and check Google Maps. Yeah, my calculations were off, I guess, because I already passed my turnoff. It's half a kilometer behind me. There's a little bit of, hello, bit of a scooter gang going by with a million trucks. Just crossing over to the other side of this road is a challenge. And this is supposed to be the quiet road. Look at this parade of trucks coming towards me. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4. Parked 1, 5, 6. Anyway, a lot. Yeah, I think in terms of honking, the one honk I don't like is when they wait until they're right beside you and then they honk. Then for me, that's too late. I don't need the warning. I can already see and hear them by that point. Oh, here's a road. I think this might be it. Yeah, this is my road. Hello. How are you?
Hi, I'm just fine.
Good, good, good.
Good.
How are you?
Where do you go?
What's that?
Where do you go?
I'm going to the river.
Oh, river.
Yeah, I want to see the bridge
Yes.
over the river. Over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Samsumar.
Samsumar.
Samsumar. Yes.
My name is Douglas.
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 Where do you live?
I live in Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
My name Canada.
There you go. A advantage, disadvantage with the GoPro and a 360 camera. I was speaking with that man there, very interesting fellow. He's carrying around a weed whacker, so he's doing landscaping work. But of course, my GoPro caught the audio, but there's no video because at that precise moment, my GoPro was pointing ahead of me. But if I was using the 360 camera, I would have been able to show him on video. But with the GoPro, I'm stuck with whatever the camera is pointing at. I'm very interested to see if I can actually get to the bridge this way. It still strikes me as odd. When I was looking at that bridge the other day, I was sort of standing near it and looking at it for over an hour, I guess. I was in the area. I never saw a single person or vehicle crossing it. And that's one of the reasons I concluded it wasn't even a bridge at all. No. I thought it was just a structure to suspend an oil or gas pipeline. Well, this is all very strange, but according to Google Maps, this trail, hello. This trail right here is the one that leads to the bridge. So let's see if we can find it. It's more of a walking trail than a cycling one. Yeah, it just lends credence to this idea that this bridge is not commonly used for, I mean, a motorcycle. Ow, 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 ow. Yeah, that's funny. Way back when I was in the Philippines and I needed to replace my pedals. And so I was going to all these bike shops there looking for pedals that I could buy. Check out this bridge. And the only ones I could find were designed for BMX bikes. So they were very wide and they had a lot of like metal pegs to provide a lot of traction, so that when these BMX acrobats were like spinning through the air, their feet have a lot of grip on those pedals. And they were the only pedals I could find, so I bought them and put them on. But the downside is that if you happen to be pushing your bike and you accidentally take a step and slam the pedal into the back of your leg, those pegs tear into your flesh. And I just scraped up the back of my leg. Yeah, you got to be careful with those pegs. So, when I tried to walk along the river to get to this bridge, I ran into sections where there was water, big pools and rivers that I couldn't get across. And so far, I've gone over a couple of bridges already. So I guess this would be the way you're supposed to approach this bridge. You get these, or the big bridge, because you get these small bridges across these bodies of water. and the rivers connecting them. Yeah, there's one of them right there. Yeah, actually from here, this is rideable on my bike, so I might as well. I've mentioned the other day as well that I met another long-distance cyclist, a fellow who introduced himself as David from Sweden. And right now he's actually in Dumai today, and he's spending a day in Dumai resting, and then tomorrow he's taking the ferry to Malacca. And I had a chance to chat with him one evening and hang around while a local mechanic was putting a new rear derailleur on his bike at the guest house. So I got a chance to take a fairly close look at his bike, and that's always interesting to do. Oh, there's the river. Look at that. That is one big river. Beautiful. Huh. And yeah, I mean, a few things I noticed about his bike. He didn't have a kickstand. I mean, he is a very simple cyclist. He likes to keep things as uncomplicated as possible, keep his load as light as possible. So he has no laptop, no cameras, and as I said, not even a kickstand on his bike. No mirrors, no rear view mirror or anything like that. And it's just interesting to see that because, yeah, I do like the idea of having a less complicated rig, a lighter rig, but I absolutely need a kickstand for one thing. I wouldn't know how to live without one. And I find that to be one of the most convenient things you can have on your bike. It's hard sometimes to find a kickstand that is strong enough for a touring bike with a heavy load on it. So I just took the time to find one that works. And of course, as I talked about, I really like having a rear view mirror. I usually like to have two of them, one on each side of the handlebars. I only have one right now because one of mine was broken recently. I haven't had a chance to replace it. But yeah, he didn't have any mirrors on his bike at all. And yeah, I would definitely put a mirror on that bike if it was my choice. I like having that mirror. Ooh, monitor lizard. Oh, another one. So interested to see where I'm going to end up and whether or not I can get my bike across this bridge. Walk my bike through this section. Yeah, I don't have any blood pouring down the back of my bike, but I've got 3 or 4 good scratches back there from my pedals. Yeah, just through the bush up ahead, I can just make out structure of the tower of the bridge. Actually, there's a flat area down here. Let's head this way first. Maybe we can get a look at the bridge from over here before I try to cross it. Yeah, there it is. I'm on the other side. Compared to yesterday. The bridge. I've got flies all over the back of my legs. I can't resist the open scratches and the wounds back there because there is blood in the wounds. It's just not rolling down my legs. Oh, these are biting flies. Quit that. Ouch. Anyway, yeah, look how fast that water is flowing. That is a fast current. Beautiful down here, so quiet. And I think that area in that direction, you can just maybe make out some blue and red tarpaulins. I think that's like a beach area. Maybe I can ride over there once I get across. It's like a tourist area. Families can hang out and go swimming there and things like that, have picnics. I'm guessing. I think I saw that on Google Maps. All right, well, let's keep the GoPro pointing forward for now and see what this bridge looks like. Yeah, yesterday after I left from the bridge area, I never made it to the bridge, but on my walk yesterday, and I stopped at a soybean processing center where they make soy milk and tempeh and perhaps some other products from soybeans. And while I was talking to the woman, she told me that this is the longest river in Sumatra. So what is this bridge made out of? Okay, it's definitely a bridge. It's not for oil and gas pipelines as I thought, but it looks like it's made up of steps, like it's not smooth. So maybe it's designed to prevent people from going across on a motorcycle. Or maybe, what is going on? Look at this. Yeah, there is no bridge. It's just a series of steel beams, and they're open down to the river. So what is going on with this? I mean, what? Nothing can get across this, unless you're willing to do the Spider-Man thing and just walk along the edges. I mean, in an emergency, that'd be no problem to do that, but no normal person would do that. And I don't see any pipelines. So I guess either the bridge was built and then the surface got so old and they tore it out and never replaced it, or they built this part of the bridge and then stopped and they never actually completed it. They never put down an actual bridge surface. And that explains a lot. That explains why I didn't see anybody crossing it, and it explains why the road to get here is just kind of a muddy trail. There isn't any kind of a road. That is one of the strangest things I've ever seen. That is so weird. All that money building a bridge this large, and then it's just basically incomplete or abandoned. Oh yeah, it looks completely unsafe anyway. If you look on the side here, you can see going down from these suspension cables, there are all kinds of cables just dangling down that were clearly at one point connected to all these cross beams and holding up the bridge, but they're all either they were never connected or it's all fallen apart. That is so strange. So that is it for the big bridge adventure. I was hoping to be able to explore. There's a cluster of homes and a mosque and probably a school and things on the other side of the river. I was assuming I could cross the bridge and go see it. An interesting thing is that I was talking to the woman, the mother at the soy processing center yesterday about this bridge. I showed her pictures of it and she knew exactly what bridge I was talking about. And all she had to say about the bridge was, yeah, people seldom use it, is what she said. And we talked about it, using Google Translate. And, she had every opportunity to tell me that, well, the bridge is derelict. You know, it's been abandoned or it's never been completed, but it's impossible to go across that bridge. But she didn't know that. She didn't say anything about that. She just said that, yeah, people don't use it very often. So she didn't seem to be aware that the bridge is in this kind of condition. That's interesting. Nice spot here, though. If any long-distance cyclists follow in my path and you're looking for a place to camp on your way, you know, you want to stay around Bangkinan, but you don't want to pay for a hotel and you just want to sleep in your tent, this is it. I mean, this is a perfect place to camp, right? They got all that water, you go in for a swim, cool down, get cleaned off, quiet, beautiful, you know. There you go, right beside the river. Very nice. Yeah, there you go again. The difference between walking and cycling. I've startled all these quite, you know, not large, but, you know, medium to large monitor lizards. And you don't really see them on the bike because by the time you're on top of them, they've already run away. But if you were walking, you would at least get a better look at all the local wildlife. Kind of sneak up on them more slowly, and you don't startle them into running away quite so soon. But again, continuing with the thoughts about cycling versus walking versus scootering, the fact that I'm on the bike moving a bit faster than when I'm walking, you don't have to. I mean, that's another advantage to a bike, I guess, is that I could, if I wanted to, just get off the bike and I could walk the bike along. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. I can ride the bike as I'm doing now, but if I wanted to, I could just get off and walk for a little while. But you can't do that with other forms of transportation. You can't just change your mind. You can't push your scooter along. And if you're only walking, you can't hop on a bike if you don't have a bike. So yeah, cycling has its advantages, especially for this kind of life. I've just been hanging out in Bangkinan, and just as it's nice to have a bike so that you can go a little bit further afield when you wake up in the morning and want to explore a little bit. Go track down the bridge that is no longer a bridge. Things like that. Hello. Right. There's two guys on a motorcycle coming this way. They're going to go down to the river and go fishing. I wanted to quickly turn the GoPro around and capture some video of them crossing this rickety bridge, but I couldn't get the GoPro free quickly enough. And there's the road ahead of me and the bridge. But there's what remains of the bridge. You have to have some faith when you're crossing this. The whole thing is being supported by these the largest cement sections. You gotta have faith that they're going to hold up while you go across. we go. Oh yeah, there's actually another section here. Oh yeah, the ground is eroding away. Yeah, I don't know if I would dare ride my motorcycle or scooter across that. Oh, like this guy. Let him go by. Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, he just went right across. There's nothing to it. I'm sure he's done it 100 times before. Back on the busy road. Hello. I'm just arriving back in downtown, Bangkinan, and it is time for a cold drink. I'm trying to decide if I want coconut juice, which is right up ahead on the left, or whether I want sugarcane juice, which is on the other side of the road. I think since I'm on this side of the road, I might as well get coconut juice. Right here. Hello. Oh. Hi, kitty. Oh yeah, my bicycle. Yeah, ice
Es kelapa.
ice kelapa. Inam. Mantap. I went to there.
Jembatan gantung.
Oh yeah? It's
Seberang.
the bridge
Ya.
and the river.
Sungai.
Yeah, over there.
Itu jembatan
Jembatan.
gantung.
Jantung. Oh, it must be bridge, maybe. But the bridge is broken.
No.
Oh yeah, broken.
Diperbaiki.
Let's see.
Baru
Oops.
dibuat. Baru dibuat.
You think? Can you speak? Well, it's recording. Okay.
Nih.
Oh, new? New made. So it is not finished yet.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Di situ ada jembatan.
Can you speak?
Di situ ada jembatan. Cantik.
Oh, that one there. Yeah. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Pasar malam. Pasar malam.
Pasar Salam.
Pasar malam. Dekat pasar malam.
Oh, near the night market. Yeah, Pasar Malam.
Nah.
Pasar Malam. Near the night market.
Punya mata uang Kanada.
Let's try that again.
Punya mata uang Kanada.
Oh, Canadian money? No. I just get Indonesian rupiah from ATM. Yeah. I cannot use Canadian money here.
Saya tidak bisa menggunakan uang Kanada di sini.
Sudah punya anak? Anak?
Ana?
Anak.
Ana. What is Ana?
Sudah punya
Oh.
anak?
Oh, it didn't work. Okay.
Sudah punya anak atau keluarga?
Ah. No, I never got married in my life. I am always traveling, so I can't have a house or a family. Always.
Tidak boleh.
Yep. So good. You're so good. She's an expert.
Es.
And then she adds ice to inside the coconut.
Es batu. Oke?
Okay, that looks great. I always find it fascinating when someone does something like that so many times. They just develop that skill, and for someone to do it, for me to try to do that, I'd be hacking at that coconut all day long, and it would just end up being a mess, of course. Yeah, it's really something to see that kind of skill. Oh, and we were chatting a little bit. She wanted to know where I went, and I showed her a picture of the bridge where I went to. And she told me, I said the bridge was broken, but she said, no, it just isn't finished yet. And that was kind of what I was thinking when I was there. It was either built and fell apart, but it kind of looked new. So the alternative was they started building it and they just haven't finished it yet. And yet, I don't know, the state that it's in kind of looks like it's never going to be finished somehow. It looks like it just got abandoned. But I don't know. But she did mention there is another bridge here, which I've seen. I haven't ridden across it, I don't think, but I've ridden by it. So maybe today when I get back on the bike, I'll ride down to that other bridge as well. Make it a day of bridges. Take a look at the other bridge. It's right downtown. So, as I said, the woman selling the coconut juice reminded me that there is another bridge here in town. So I thought before I go back to my guest house, I'd just ride down this main road and take a look at the other bridge. And just before I left, she and another man were telling me, or trying to tell me about some kind of activity on the river tomorrow. But as often happens with these things, I can never make any sense out of it. So I tend not to pay a whole lot of attention. But she said that tomorrow morning there was a duck catching competition on the river. And my ears perked up, of course. I thought, oh, duck catching competition. That'll be interesting to check out. So then I'm trying to find out the details, right? When and where. But once I started trying to get any kind of information about when and where, the whole thing fell apart and I couldn't make it heads or tails out of when the duck catching was going to happen or where it was going to happen. So I just had to kind of give up on the whole endeavor. And I asked the woman how many coconuts she sold in a day. And she said she sold about 50 per day. 50 per day. And they go for, I think it's the same whether you get a whole coconut or just a glass of coconut juice. It's 10,000 rupiah. Oh, check this out. I better turn my GoPro around so that I can capture things around me, or at least ahead of me. I spotted these horse carriages, horse-drawn carriages coming off the bridge. So I wonder if they are like a local tourist attraction. Right there, just catch a glimpse of them going by. And here on my left is one of the bridges. I guess there's a pair of bridges here. And I've been wondering about this spot on my left. It's kind of a market area with carnival rides and food stalls. But I'm not sure if it's open these days or not. But the woman called it a night market, because she said the bridge was near the night market. Oh, so there's a sidewalk over here. So I'm gonna hop off the road and just walk my bike along the sidewalk. So here's the bridge, and there's the river. Quite a mighty river, much wider than I expected. Especially even when you look at Google Maps satellite view, the river doesn't strike me as being this wide at all. I saw another coconut juice stand on the street. I feel like having another one. Oh, there is a sidewalk here as well. Okay, on both sides. I'll just stay on the road this time. Oh yeah, the other bridge is open to traffic. I can see a motorcycle going across it right now. Yeah, I think I'll stop at this other place, have another coconut juice. And that will be the end of my bridge adventures for today. And here we are. So, more coconut juice to end the day. I noticed that she spooned some fresh, like sliced coconut strips into the drink. So that'll be nice. Berapa harganya?
5.000.
5.000? Okay, I just have a...
Terima kasih.
Okay, sama-sama. So I did have an ulterior motive for coming here. I was curious about the price because the place I've been going, she's charging 10,000 rupiah for her coconut juice. And I had a sense that she was charging me like double. And turns out that's true, because here, the exact same drink, and it's 5,000 rupiah here, and she was charging me 10,000 rupiah. But she was very nice. Did a lot of Google Translate, you know, chatting with me, answering questions, so that was nice. And this is a better drink. Tastes better. It's got a stronger coconut flavor, and she added a whole bunch of coconut. What's the word I'm looking for? The actual flesh of the coconut sliced out of inside the coconut was added, so I can eat that at the end. So, yeah, it's a much better drink at half the price. I think it's even a much larger drink. Just the cup seems to hold a lot more than her cups do. So this is my new coconut drink place in Bangkinan. Oh, man, what a life. Tasty coconut drinks every 100 meters along the road. Doesn't get better than that. One more? One more? Thank you. Terima kasih. That was so good. I had to have a second one. My third one, really, within the space of an hour, I guess. As I said, this is living the good life. And with that, I have a sip from this one. So good. I'm going to shut down my GoPro for the day. My small adventures checking out a couple of the bridges of Bangkinan, basically. Still pretty enjoyable, enjoyable little bike ride, and an enjoyable lunch as well. So that's it, and I'll see you in the next video.